The Range Rover Sport just had a refresh in 2023. For 2024, we have this new Borasco Grey over cloud and ebony, and this is the Dynamic SE. The SV this year will have 626 horsepower, and for 2025, we're now receiving a Stealth, which will give us blacked out aesthetics on the exterior and bringing it back into the interior. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over the specs for the interior, the exterior, take it for a test drive with some pros and cons and the comparable rivals. The front will have full LED with an active grille shutter for the top portion, and the Range Rover will be in the black. The lower part has the LED fog lights with the front parking sensors, 8.5 inches of clearance and up to 11 inches of clearance, fording through water at 35.4 inches. And when you're thinking the big box that this is and all the luxury that it packs, would you take this and wade through water? Let me know in the comments. But I like the simplicity that they do for the front because it's polished off a little bit more clean. And when you're thinking a combustion engine, typically you're seeing a huge grille. They don't do that with the Range Rover. Underneath the hood has the P400 with the 3.0 liter turbocharged and supercharged mild hybrid technology, producing 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 19 mpgs for the city, 25 mpgs for the highway. This has air suspension, which makes the ride a little bit more pleasant, and that's why we get the difference in the ground clearance as well. 21 inches standard, we got upgraded 23 inches. So the wow factor is coming into the Range Rover, and you expect that because when you get these vehicles, especially on the Dynamic SE, you're expecting a 6-figure price tag. Red brake calipers housing 4 pistons in the front, and the disc reading on all 4 corners is nearly 14 inches. I used to be a pizzeria owner. I had a total of 4 of them, and a 16-inch was my large pizza. Franchise, a 14-inch is large. So just consider sports performance and luxury, it's basically blended in. Now you do have to pay for some options, which when you're at a 6-figure price point, this is a con to me. The roof being the gloss black, that's an extra grand. The soft closed doors, that's more money. Obviously the wheels, but that's insane. It's 23 inches. But a 0 to 60 at 5.4 seconds and a top speed, nearly 140 miles per hour with this big box. And now going into the competition, the Mercedes-Benz, you're going to be spending over 6 figures MSRP in order to get more performance than this. The same thing with BMW, which is their mid-grade trim, which that's what we have here. So you can see where the savings trickle in, and you're still accomplishing the performance and the luxury. Backing it with 7,716 pounds towing, and to put on the roof rails, over 220 pounds if you option them. And you have the 2 shark fin antennas, which was implemented last year, so it gives better GPS, and for the infotainment screen, which for this year, the Pivi Pro is on its 4th gen. The rear gets standard LED taillights that go into the gloss black and the Range Rover badging, and you have yet again a 2-tier structure. The lower gets the gloss black and dual massive exhaust outlets with reverse sensors, and the Stealth Edition for 25 is only option on the P400 or the Dynamic SE. And when you're thinking about that SV, 626 horsepower BMW sourced engine, you could buy a his and her at that price point. I mean, let us know what you think in the comments about that. Is it better that you just option the Dynamic SE because this is kind of the sweet spot, you're still getting all the capabilities, or do you need raw performance but you're still getting the same plush amenities in the Dynamic? Jester or power liftgate going into 38.2 cubic feet of storage. We get the privacy cover, bag holders here, LED interior lights with a 12-volt storage nook, and you got a little area here that you can put a bottle so it won't slide around, and you can lift this up and you have more areas that you can put some bottles, and you can rotate this as well. Collapsing this back down so you can see underneath the floor, receives that large 23-inch spare tire. And if this is too high up, well, we have air suspension, so you can drop the rear, so it makes it easier for you to load anything. And now it'll be a little bit more simple to get inside, and to split fold the rear bench in the back, and that will maximize cargo to 53 cubic feet of storage. light cloud ebony Windsor leather, heated, ventilated, power adjustment front seats, memory for the driver and passenger. The Range Rover Sport is a box inside, so you're gonna have plenty of head and leg room for the front. You have more or less a pass through with a USB port, so it's a his and her for putting a cell phone, and 2 glove box. You push this button here and you open up for storage, and you push this one here for your actual glove box. A flat dashboard layout, Meridian sound system, and configures it to the dashboard with the natural black veneers and a 13.1 Pivi Pro that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. This is the quick wedges. You have your pitch and roll page, and you have your weight sensing, which is really cool because if you do take this off-road and you want to go into the water, it will show you how deep you can actually go in the vehicle. Put it into reverse, and we have a 360-degree reverse camera. You can also push the 3D view, and you can just slide your finger around so you can see all around you, or you can just simply click onto the cameras here. And you also have the off-road, which will show the pinch and roll. It shows basically this is the interior of the vehicle and the sides, so it makes it a little bit easier. Everything is now derived through the Pivi Pro. So if you want to do the climate control, just click and hold. And now you have everything for your heated ventilated seats to turn up and down the climate control and the fan speed. Working into more veneer that opens up to a wireless charging pad. The palm holder to put it into gear. Open up here, and now we have the key fob for the Range Rover Sport. Slide this back, and now you have even more storage with some more USB ports. It's going to be soft to touch, opens up into a deep storage pocket. And the steering wheel is multi-function, and it's multi-functionality, which means you click here, and now it'll change different layouts, which means you can change the configuration for the gauge cluster. And you can do a focused, a map, or you can just simply do the dial. And it will go through an array of information for the driver with an auto-dimming rear view mirror, a long pano moonroof that goes into the back. Leather is going to be on the grab handle with the veneers yet again. Soft to touch materials, and you'll have the cloth inlays here. One touch up and down for all your windows, and a long storage pocket that is encased with the black veneer. For the back seats, headroom is not going to be an issue, and these seats recline. It's a 2-way power seat adjustment. Leg space is not going to be an issue. You do have storage behind both of the front seats. This, you just touch it, and this will change the speed for the fans because we only have dual climate control settings. When you push this in, you have your heated and ventilated seats for the rear. Push here for your cup holders, open up, and you have a little storage pocket for a couple of cell phones and an armrest. The door is going to have manual sunshades, and you have the leather and the veneers coming into play. Just push the button, and now you have your LED lighting and for your clothing. The door panel is going to have the same segment that's found in the front and almost the same size storage pocket. Sliding into the center, the floor isn't completely flat, but the way they have integrated this center piece, you actually have your own feet space. So leg, butt, and shoulder space is going to be the same. You have quite a bit of it. I'm at 6'3". I'm not going to have any issues sitting in the center for a long journey. And a cool little feature is they have these little integrated pieces that you just put a clip in for your clothing hangers. These are also captain seats, so you can move these up, but I find that it kind of takes away from the width of the front interior seating. The Dynamic SE, 395 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. It is more than enough to get this vehicle motivated. You have towing capabilities, you have all the luxury and plush amenities inside, plus it's still somewhat of a sporty SUV, even though it's a big box on wheels. But one thing to note is how quiet the interior is. The sound deadening is fabulous. To give her a little go, and even with all that torque, you still stay smooth in the interior. There's a lot of pros, but we're gonna start off with the cons. When you're at a 6-figure price point, I would like to see a lot more power seat adjustments. I would like to see standard soft closed doors, massage seats standard, more power seat adjustments in the rear, and a power sunshade for the rear. I don't like that you have to option a lot of the features in order to make the Range Rover what it is, considering the Range Rover has the iconic styling as it is with the two-tone paint, but yet you got to pay extra for that. The Pro's 35 inches, actually more than that, fording through water. Up to 11 inches of clearance. The air suspension even in the rear will drop, so it makes it a little bit more seamless to put anything inside. And look at this thing go. And when you're thinking turbocharged, supercharged mix out of this 6-cylinder, it's seamless because they give you enough. So you're getting decent MPGs. I know it's not the best, but at a 6-figure price point, that's not really something that you're going to be concerned about. And as for the upgraded 23-inch wheels, it doesn't really change the ride that much. That's how good the suspension is when they did the refresh back in 2023, because they reamped the whole thing for the interior and the exterior. Each wheel well has speakers that will help with the sound deadening. They have went extreme levels where other automotive industries don't do that. Now, going against the rivals, BMW, if you go into the X7 and you go into the M60i, that's going to have a lot more performance. But then when you're considering the price, it's about $120, whereas this is actually under $100,000 without optioning all the features. And then dropping it to a base X7 xDrive 40i, that's going to have less performance than this. You only have 375 horsepower out of that big box. And as for Mercedes, the GLS, I mean, once you get into the 580, the price goes at least $10,000 to $20,000 more spec to spec. That's why when you're thinking Range Rover, it actually becomes a sweet spot, and because Tata has decided to change where they're going to do the build for these vehicles back to India, in the future, it's going to drop the price another 20 to 30%. And going against the Grand Wagoneer, another vehicle that's tipping right at the 6-figure price point, in which you do have more towing capabilities and payload capabilities, but then the luxury is not as quiet and the performance is not as nimble as the Range Rover Sport. I'm gonna try to do a turn radius here in the middle of the road to show you how long this vehicle really is. It's about 3 lanes. Let's rock and roll. I mean, the motivation that you're getting out of this engine is impressive. Now, it's nothing like the SV. Now, whenever you're mashing on the gas pedal, it can feel heavy at times, but not necessarily at a low note. It typically starts happening once you're getting over 45, 50 miles per hour, which I do YouTube shorts. You can check the 0 to 60 out there. But as for the length, it does feel long. It does feel a little bit wide. I like that when you change the configuration of your driving modes, it lowers to be more sporty and it raises to be more luxurious, so you forget that you have 23-inch wheels. The seat comfort is basically like an S-Class because how wide it is. The con, though, is these captain seat configuration, because I'm not necessarily that wide, and it just makes the seat feel less in the width, opposed to making it feel as wide as it is, so I usually don't even use it. But I have seen or heard people say that they actually really enjoy that on a long journey. But let me know what you think about that in the comments and give a like, because it does help with the algorithm. As for the Pivi Pro, it does work and function a lot better. It's a little bit more quick and precise, and when you're using 360-degree reverse camera, you can use that at higher speeds, which you can't do that with any of the rivals. Another con to me is the auto start stop. You can deactivate it, but you can feel it shift really hardcore whenever it is engaged. And going back to the question, is this a blend of performance and luxury? This is a sweet spot because you're getting nearly 400 horsepower out of the P400. You can get up to 60 pretty quick. You can maneuver in and out. It's still going to feel somewhat boaty, but it's air suspension. As for luxury, the interior, the seats are so wide. And when you're considering these big box SUVs, typically they're a little bit more narrow. So for tall people, it ticks the box for the luxury, and the Windsor leather is as soft and comfortable as vehicles that it's at least $20,000 to $30,000 its price. But let me know what you think in the comments, because it does help with the algorithm. Leave a comment, consider subscribing, and I'd like to thank Land Rover Lakeland for giving us this 2024 Range Rover Sport Dynamic SE for our car review.